Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today on today's webinar, which is about elevating your wellness marketing, decoding the consumer's mindset. And today's webinar is put on by Promo Republic and the CMO Peer Talks community. We'll talk a little bit about that community, but if you have not yet joined our community on LinkedIn, please do. We are all in this together. And if you have a challenge in your business marketing, you have a team of people behind you who have likely had the same challenge. So don't recreate the wheel, join the community and connect with people who are in a similar situation as you are. Now, today's webinar will be recorded. If you want to watch this back, you will be able to. And there is a chat feature on today's webinar. So if you have a question for one of our panelists or have something to say, type it in the chat. We'll check that chat throughout today's webinar, but also know that near the end of the webinar, we are going to break out into rooms and have a little bit more of a contained discussion on the things that were discussed today and any questions that might come up. So don't hesitate to write in the chat. Please do write in that chat. We want to hear from you, but also know that you'll have that verbal opportunity to have a discussion near the end of today's webinar. So if I haven't yet met you, my name is Kristen Pahachik. I'm the Chief Growth Officer for Massage Lux. Massage Lux is a massage and facial membership-based business. We are going to pass 100 locations in early 2024, which is really exciting. We're in 22 states, hopefully one near you. If not, talk to me about buying one and building one in your community. Just kidding. So as Chief Growth Officer, I oversee the consumer marketing functions of the business, but also help with franchise growth and demand. Prior to that, I was with Self-Esteem Brands, the parent company of Anytime Fitness, and 3 other minority brands, totaling over 5,000 locations in 41 countries. But without further ado, I have an amazing panel to introduce to you. Some of them I've met just now through this. So I'm really excited to learn from these experts. I haven't heard these folks talk before and know that I'm going to walk away with some really good insight, as I hope you do too. So first up, we're going to introduce Rhandi, who is the SVP of Marketing for Medi-Weightloss. Rhandi, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here today. I am the head of marketing at Medi-Weightloss, and I've actually been with the brand for over 15 years. So I'm a little bit unique in that case, where I basically grew up with Medi-Weightloss. We've had a lot of changes, especially recently. We were founded by a family and recently acquired by private equity. So it's been a very exciting transition, new CEO, new leadership, and really excited to take Medi-Weightloss to the next level. We just surpassed 100 locations. We've got about 103 and a few more opening this year. And basically, I oversee everything marketing related. So from consumer marketing, getting new patients for us in the door, franchise development, also very involved in training and events, and just getting all of the corporate team members onboarded with the Medi-Weightloss brand. So really excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Rhandi. We're excited to hear from you. Next up, we have Keri Quin, who's the Director of Marketing at AlignLife Systems. Keri, do you want to talk about yourself?
Sure. Similarly to both you, Kristen, and Rhandi, I oversee all of the marketing functions for AlignLife, from franchise growth all the way to patient marketing, retention, all of that. We are actually getting ready to launch this year the first real paid franchise growth development. Every bit of our growth so far has been from referrals and business contacts and things like that. So we're actually going to start marketing to grow our franchise now. I apologize about my lighting. I just moved to a new location and I haven't quite got it down. So I'm sorry that it's a little dark over here. I promise I don't live in a cave. Trying to monitor the natural light here and it's not working so well. So I've spent the last 10 years, actually, 10 years in November, I've been with AlignLife. I've bounced all over a little bit. One of the things that I'm a process improvement. I see gaps, I dive in, I'm like, we have to fix these things. And that comes from the marketing mindset of constantly having to switch gears. So prior to being in the health and wellness industry, I was in the automotive industry and I was the franchisee versus the franchisor. I oversaw a dealer group of 4 different dealerships, 9 different manufacturers. So I had to answer to 9 different franchisors, which uniquely prepared me for being on the franchisor side of things, to be able to really understand how everything that I do impacts what's happening in that local business. How does it impact their business flow? How does it work into their wow experience for their patients and their acquisition? So because of that, I'm sure every one of us has been in that situation. Like, can we make them do this? And then it's understanding, yeah, if you do this, this is what will happen. So it has uniquely prepared me for that.
Awesome. Great. And how many locations does AlignLife have now?
We are currently at 36 open and operational locations. We'll be at 40 by the end of the year. We are in the continental United States and Puerto Rico.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have Rachel Vaughn, VP of Marketing at Sola Salons. Rachel, the floor is yours.
So much pressure. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. I am the Vice President of Marketing. I run marketing and our beauty professional education programs for Sola. We are a salon suite concept. So our whole mission is providing built out salon suite spaces for independent beauty professionals to thrive, and all of the tools and support that come along with that. So our company is big and still continuing to grow fast in this industry. We just hit our 690th location. And I think we are projected growth about 70 per year. So growing quickly. We just hit a major milestone, 20,000 beauty professionals in our community that are part of Sola Suites that we provide support to. So it's been a really incredible experience, and our community is strong and continuing to grow. I focus a lot on lead acquisition, as well as helping build loyalty programs and reduce churn within our existing locations. We also, because we support 20,000 independent beauty professionals, have an educational arm. So we provide a lot of support and education to them, because they've gone from really mastering their craft and now they've become the CEO of their own business. And so a lot of programs there help support them thrive as they get into one of our locations, and then help them grow throughout their career. I started my career in advertising, where I spent about 10 years at a large advertising agency, and it was amazing. We were definitely dedicated to understanding the consumer mindset. So excited to be here. And then had moved into restaurant marketing, which was great for the soul and bad for the waistline. So quickly I found my way into this health, wellness, and beauty space, and I really can't imagine being anywhere else. So excited to be here today.
Yeah, this is great. We have a lot of different experience, but all centered around health, wellness, and beauty. So even if you aren't in health, wellness, and beauty, I'm sure you're going to pull away some nuggets. But if you happen to be in health, wellness, and beauty, you're about to learn a lot, I can assume. So the first thing that we want to talk about as a group here is content creation. Then we'll move on to lead generation and elevating the marketing experience. And then, just as I said at the beginning of the webinar, we will have that opportunity to do a little bit of a roundtable discussion, which I know we all love. It's one thing to hear from experts, but then another to really have a conversation with them, and for the experts to hear from other experts who are attending and watching the webinar. So we're all going to grow and learn from that. And we'll hop on to the first question for the panel, which is, what makes your content unique, or what content are you finding really helps to get in front of the consumer and engage with them? So, Keri, do you want to start?
Sure. We found really in the wellness place, especially in I know it's kind of a taboo word, but COVID really opened this up for the chiropractic industry. And we start from an educational perspective. Obviously, we do run ads and we talk about pain, but AlignLife centers are not pain management. We don't look at, oh, your back hurts, let's fix your back. We say, oh, your back hurts, there's got to be something much different going on. Let's take a look. Let's get to the root cause. So education is the best way to get in front of those people. We do all types of educational content on our website, in our social media posting, everywhere that we can, talking about different conditions, if you will, that people don't necessarily understand that chiropractic can help. Sure, almost every person on the face of the earth now knows that if you have low back pain, you might want to see a chiropractor. It's even becoming more common. Oh, I have a headache. Maybe I should see a chiropractor. There are certain things that have become more mainstream, but COVID gave us a platform to just scream from the rooftops that preventative medicine starts from within. And going to see a chiropractor once or twice a month is a whole heck of a lot cheaper and less disruptive than landing in the hospital. So it's the education piece for us. It's talking about the different things. It's not, we don't pitch ourselves traditional medicine is bad. That's not it at all. It's just overused, over prescribed, over everything, right? There's a lot of invasive things happening that don't need to be so invasive. Start with the symptoms, understand what that root cause is. And then if you do need surgery or prescription pain pills or something like that, beyond that, that's a different site, different place for somebody. So starting with, did you know that sleep issues, ADD, all of these different things that people don't really understand can be fixed by an adjustment or
Awesome.
eased.
Yeah. Okay. This is great. And as an emerging brand, how are you creating this content? Are you using UGC? Do you have an agency? Is it in-house? What's it look like for your brand?
So we are a pretty hybrid. We rely on a lot of our doctors for the clinical content, and from a marketing perspective, obviously we can't market what we don't know. And there's that integrity factor. We got to make sure that it's clinically sound, that it's right. So we let the doctors start with the content and just vomit a bunch of information either in a video or an audio or on a paper. And then we take it and we make it marketing friendly, because 13 syllable words are not attractive to people reading. They don't understand. Latin is not a first language, but for doctors, that's what they speak. And so we have to take it and make it very reader friendly, keyword friendly, algorithm friendly, and looking at the keyword, what's trending right now and what can we plug into that.
Awesome. Great. Rachel, what about you?
Yeah, we take a similar approach, and education is really a lot at the core of what we do. It's interesting to hear Keri say that they rely on their doctors and practitioners, because we have a similar approach. So our business is really all founded on supporting our beauty professionals. And we sort of take a 3-pillar approach to our content capture. It's empower, inspire, and connect. And so we empower through things like education and making sure that we understand the obstacles that are ahead and providing education to help people overcome those type of things, providing solutions to maybe problems they didn't even realize they had, or dreams they knew were out but didn't know that Sola could help provide the solution for them. Inspiration through words of affirmation, through the success stories of our community, through just making sure that they feel supported. And then connection is a really strong piece of where we build our community. And we actually have created an ambassador program within our organization. It's called the Faces of Sola, and it's hand-selected beauty professionals that really amplify and exemplify what a true Sola entrepreneur looks like from a community perspective and education perspective. And we put them really at the core of a lot of our marketing. So ours also is based a lot on UGC content. We as Sola are never generally pushing out overly branded content or things coming from the brand. It really is always coming from the voice and the perspective of our beauty pro, because that's what potential beauty pros coming in also want to hear. So that's really the core of sort of how we create. Either we are creating our own in-house alongside this ambassador program, or within our community, we have tons and tons of really loyal beauty professionals that provide endless marketing content. I mean, I hate to say they make my job much easier, but boy, does our community really make my job easy by the amount of content they provide to us. And then it's crafting that into one of those 3 pillars to really align with the storytelling of what Sola provides and what type of support someone can expect by coming independent at one of our locations.
I love that. You are spoiled. I'm jealous.
Spoiled.
One of the things, I'm sure that you have other challenges. I'm sure. One of the things that we've done at Massage Lux is encourage our franchisees to find content captains. So someone in the spa that's really passionate about collecting the content and then perhaps they're incentivized for collecting that content so that it's part of someone's role. Rhandi, what about you?
I mean, very similar, but we are really focusing now on emotional connection, right? So we've done so much education, right? A lot of facts, the benefits of Medi-Weightloss, the benefits of achieving a healthy weight, why you should consider, medical weight loss versus doing something on your own. So we have a lot of, evidence and science and facts that we share. But, within the past year, we're really focusing on getting our patients to submit their stories and really focusing on the people behind the stories, right? So appealing to weight loss is emotional, right? And as many things in healthcare and in wellness are emotional, but really highlighting their personal stories and who they are as people. And yes, you lost weight, but how has that impacted your life? And what has it allowed you to do? So really focusing on that. We just launched a brand ambassador program, and I think my very talented team member might be on the call today. Her name's Brianna, but she has done an amazing job building it out. And we just have our first set of brand ambassadors, and it's going a little bit slow, but we definitely have some superstars in there. And I think coaching them and making them feel more comfortable with just using tools to create their content, right? I think is going to be the next step, right? So getting more of that, pushing it out there, and just building that emotional connection, right? When we talk to our patients and we ask them, why did you choose Medi-Weightloss, right? Some of them, it's very fact oriented, right? And they want, they have a health condition, they want to be monitored, or they want a specific medication, something like that. But almost, most people say, to keep up with my grandchildren, right? Or, so I can look great, on this, wedding day, right? Or, I have joint pain, or I'm on chronic medication, right? So all of that is, it really needs to come out in our content and in our marketing strategy and in our messaging. So we're really leaning into that lately.
I love it. So question, and Rhandi, for you, but also for Rachel as well. Rhandi, I'll start with you. How are you encouraging people to be brand ambassadors? Is there some sort of incentivization, or, how are you framing that up to them? Why are they choosing to do this?
So every year we have a contest called the Transformation Vacation Giveaway. Okay. And we get hundreds of patients that submit their, before and after picture, their story. And we've been doing that for years. And this year we thought, let's make that kind of the fuel behind our brand ambassador announcement. So we reached out to all those, fresh, success stories that were very interested. So they were already interested, and we offered them to apply to be part of our brand ambassador program. And then they earn some points by doing different things. So if they, post their story, right? If they share certain things, we just launched a new spiced pumpkin pie premium protein supplements. They're getting an unboxing, and they're going to talk about that, right? So there's different activities that they can do to create content and share content, and then they'll be able to redeem those points for free products or discount codes, or eventually probably a little bit of some money, here and there. But just getting started, it's going to be gift cards and free products.
I love it. Very cool. Rachel, how are you incentivizing your beauty pros?
Yeah, so our whole concept, like I said, was helping our beauty professionals not just come to Sola to start their own business, but thrive. So we talk about providing opportunities, not just behind the chair, but beyond the chair. And so what our ambassador program does, it's based on nomination. And then there's a pretty extensive application submission process involved in that, where we really vet out each of the potential candidates to make sure that they align with our values, that they become educators, that they can really amplify our brand and exemplify what Sola stands for. We like to provide them a ton of really exclusive opportunities that would be virtually impossible if they were just out on their own. And that's to help amplify their own careers and businesses. And so things that we do, we just actually sponsored a huge brand event at New York City Fashion Week. And we brought 13 of our Faces of Sola to be stylists for the Alice and Olivia showcase. They got to work alongside celebrity stylist Matthew Curtis. So they got mentorship. They are featured on all sorts of PR. So we've been picked up through like Elle Magazine, Glamour Magazine, US Weekly. We amplify our Faces of Sola through PR. So they have personalized interviews. As you know, Keri was talking about providing education. We do consumer education and beauty pro education, not just through marketing, but obviously the arm of PR as well. So those are the people that we go to for interviews. We do a variety of industry events that are really pretty special. So we partner with Modern Salon, Beauty X in Canada, premiere shows, and our Faces of Sola are the ones that sit on the panels in front of the entire industry and the community. And then we, for our marketing content, we do what we call the Faces of Sola experience. And so we bring them out once we choose, and we create an entire 3-day experience for them so they can bond with the new class, and that they get exclusive education from really amazing industry experts. And then at that time, we also do a marketing content capture. So we do a photo shoot and we do video shoots, which they have access to utilize within their own business. But then that becomes the foundation for a lot of the marketing that we push out to our broader community for our lead acquisition. And so they truly are not just the face of Sola, but the face, the heart, and sort of the voice of Sola as we move forward. But the opportunities they have are, I would say, pretty unique. And then we do make sure too, because they are independent business professionals, that they're being compensated for their time. And so if they're going to sit on a panel or something that requires travel, we make sure that that isn't an expense that they are paying for, but that we compensate them for as well.
I love it. Very good. Great. Well, let's move on to the next question. If you guys can see the fly buzzing around me, I'm sorry. This is like real world farm life. If you don't know, I live on a farm and there's like cows and there's a fly in here that really wants to bug me. Okay. Next question is around lead generation. So lead generation is obviously essential for our types of businesses. I would love to hear from each of you what you're doing in order to generate leads and what's actually working right now. And is there something you can share with the broader audience that may be applicable to their business? So Rhandi, why don't we start with you this time?
Sure. So historically, our best source of leads have always been patient referrals, right? So word of mouth. I'm very fortunate if people drop 20 pounds in a month, right? Everyone's saying, what are you doing? You look great. Share your secrets, right? So that still is very, very important. In terms of the paid side, we are having tremendous success with paid social right now. So Instagram and Facebook ads that we create in-house, right? And then we have uploaded in a HIPAA compliant manner a like lookalike audience, right? So it's really working, for us to find lookalike patients around all of our locations. So that's definitely our best paid lead source right now. We have a bunch of different creative running, and we're always seeing which one's outperforming the other and tweaking it a little bit, whether it's the text or the image or the colors, and just trying to kind of beat each month. So we're spending a lot of time on that. It also becomes, it's an ad, but people leave comments, so it becomes a little bit social as well. So we've been spending a lot of time on that. Historically, we've also done a lot of TV, right? Streaming, and we have a lot of clusters of locations so they can pool their money together and do, like a traditional TV buy. And that has always kind of fueled our branded search, right? And, really, really helped us with building brand awareness and top of mind awareness in all of our markets. So some have dialed that down a little bit because social media has been such a success this year. But we are very fortunate this year, with all of the new weight loss drugs that have been out there, right? It's everywhere, right? Whether it's, good or bad, but people are looking for us, right? So we're having a lot of success with getting leads, and now it's deciding which channels are actually converting, right? And then to helping the franchisees convert those leads to patients, right? So we're spending a lot of time on, not sales, right? Becoming trusted advisors, right? To our prospective patients, email blasts, different, promotions, anything we can do to help them work those leads that they already have and move them to become patients. So, in years past, we've actually struggled a lot with lead generation, but we're very lucky at this moment in time, right? It can always change, but we're very fortunate right now that there's such a big demand for our services.
And Rhandi, are you using some sort of call to action outside of just find out more information? Are they getting like an introductory something for free, or what does that look like?
So there's two primary offers or call to actions that we use. One is just, book your free assessment or get a free assessment, right? That's, working probably best. And then some of our locations are also in network with insurance companies. And that's really exciting because it reduces the patient's out-of-pocket costs, right? So those locations that are in network with, the majority of the insurance companies in their area, we say, ask about insurance or, get your insurance assessment, something like that, to get them to submit their information. And then we have to verify their benefits, all of that. So those are the two primary offers. Nothing really with money off or anything like that right now.
Great. Thank you. Keri, what about you? What are you guys doing for lead gen?
So a lot of what we're doing is very similar to what Rhandi's doing. There's a couple of different variations on that. And Rhandi will know this probably more than Rachel, because Rachel's industry isn't quite so censored in the social media and online world, but medical most definitely is, especially when you're talking weight loss. You can't even say weight loss half the time on any platform. You have to say weight management, or they flag you and they shut you down immediately. But because we have had that, one of the things that I started doing, which is a little bit out of the box. I had to think out of the box because medical is harder to get even just in front of people because you get shut down on community standards constantly. So I started following and researching cannabis advertisers because they have the most stringent regulations. And I'm gonna tell you what, they have some tricks that are pretty amazing. So I started studying them and joining their groups and understanding how they're getting through the algorithms and adapting that. So from a digital perspective, that has been a huge help. The other thing that we do is we took control of all of the digital driven leads. And I don't mean control in the centers were terrible at handling it. But as we all know, in the e-commerce world, the faster you respond, the more life impact, the more emotional connection, all of that you can make, whether you're matching their tone digitally because they contacted you digitally, you're responding digitally through the phone, however that is, from automotive to, the health and wellness industry, I brought my call center experience. So I architected a dedicated call center scheduling team for AlignLife that is exclusive to AlignLife. They're trained on AlignLife. They're trained exactly the same way a front desk person would be in AlignLife. They get extra chiropractic philosophy training. They get extra objection handling training. They have everything that they need. And it is an optional program for our franchisees, or it was. It going forward, it won't be, because we now have the data to put in our franchise agreements that says this is the best way to go in a startup business, especially. But we represent about half of the franchise right now in our call center. And the show and close rates are just huge. Now, with that being said, probably a little more than half of our referrals are still internal. And and the problem that we had to combat, and Rhandi probably knows this as well, and Rachel, you probably actually do too. Chris and I can't speak so much for you, but most of you know when digital goes crazy, they stop to ask the people they see every day for the referral. So the internal drops, digital goes up, but digital close rate is a little bit lower than what an internal is. And then the referral rate from the digital is even lower. So you constantly coaching them. You worry about your internal, we'll worry about everything else. You worry about your external marketing, going to events, doing screenings, going to, different fairs and trade shows. You guys do that, we'll handle the digital, and we're able to really ebb and flow that based on their availability, based on the volume that they can handle, bringing back that thought concept of what I do today is going to impact them there. And I have to make sure that they can handle what I'm sending them. And if they can't, then I have to slow their ad spend down so that until they can catch up. I don't want to shut it off, but I got to slow it down. And so those are really the secrets behind what we've done. And we've doubled our lead acquisition in the last 16 months.
I can imagine. Now, are you working through a partner who has dedicated a team towards your brand, or did you build this all internally?
So I have 4 full-time people that work for me outside of my scheduling team. I have just as many people on my scheduling team, and they work 60. The scheduling team is open 60 hours a week, so that we can get those early and late hours that the offices may not be open, and we can offer some rollover services and some other things to help support those offices to offset some of the expenses of the call center. But I have to tell you that it's just been keep trugging away because I have to outsource a lot.
Yeah.
So I do have ad vendors that I rely on as strategic partners. We do hybrid where we do just some meeting buying where we're giving them all of the content. And then we also have ad vendors that are creating the content, but it all has to be approved by my creative director to make sure that it is brand compliant, mission compliant. And forgive me, I don't remember exactly whether it was Rhandi or Rachel talking about core values and making sure that their ambassador program matches up with their core values. We make sure our advertising matches up with our core values because we know that those people will stay longer. Those people are going to resonate with our company, our providers. They're going to stay in it for the long haul. And we all know keeping them is cheaper than getting new ones.
Amen. Rachel, what about you?
Hard acts to follow there. I feel like I wish I had more marketing spots over. I'd hire all of you, but I hate to put myself out of a job by agreeing with Rhandi and Keri to say the strongest lead gen is always going to be referral and the cheapest. And so part of marketing, which seems unintuitive in lead gen, is also leaning into the experience once we get someone in. So we partner really, really closely with operations to make sure that our franchise owners are really trained and supported. The leasing managers we have are trained and supported, and they feel like they have the tools to really provide an amazing experience that aligns with our Sola values and culture, which is all centered around the beauty professional in order to create this exemplary experience for everyone. And so ultimately that's a piece of it. It's why we have an education team. It's why we have franchise business coaches. And we have, because obviously we're franchise, we provide tools so that our franchise owners can create their own referral offers, but that we do have a referral program in place so that there is financial incentive on top of just, having your amazing colleagues or friends come to Sola and start their own business. So referrals, obviously always number one. I think in any business I've ever worked in, that's always the case. Then I would say, just like the other two women, our digital program has evolved drastically. I would say over the last 12 months, we used to have a pretty decentralized strategy where our industry isn't really as regulated or at all. And because our company grew so quickly, it was a little bit of a free-for-all for a while, which served us well. It's a testament to how strong the industry and the concept is. But we've really decided to do is more of a hybrid and centralized model. So we've really standardized our lead generation when it comes to paid media buys. And also we've taken over not just Meta buying on a national level, but also we now have taken over purchasing AdWords or SEM for our entire community, whereas they used to do it themselves. So what we were seeing is we had a lot of gaps in what we could see when it came to data. So it was hard to analyze what we were doing and figure out what was effective and efficient. And what we were also seeing is waste. So we had franchise owners that were in close proximity that were bidding on same keyword terms, or they were purchasing meta space over one another. And so our strategy really wasn't working as effectively together as it could have been. And so it's a hard transition and we're sort of in the middle of it, but we've seen our leads increase, I think, by 11% over the last just 2 months, and they continue to climb. We've had some of our strongest leads in the last probably 3 years, which is a testament, I think, to the new strategy that centralizing and making sure that we can effectively pull together the funds that we have at our brand marketing fund national level are used effectively. And then we have data in order to understand some of the lead acquisitions that are the strongest channels and then really spend and optimize there. So we've introduced YouTube, which has been interesting for the component of storytelling. And we're taking a little bit more of a, I would say, holistic digital approach, but data-based. So we have seen a lot of success. We're leaning heavy into Meta and into search. Search for us is always probably the number one digital channel, probably the number one channel behind referrals. The reason, which everyone on this call is a marketer, so it's super obvious. If someone's searching for your brand or for what you're selling, they have super high lead intent, right? So we have optimized and created new strategies even for our AdWords in order to really only target people with high lead intent. And so there are really 2 ways to set it up. You can set up for traffic or conversion. And in the past, we'd set up for traffic. So everybody can see, anytime you're searching, anybody's seeing it. And what we've done is we've taken those leads really out of our target set, and we're focused only on leads that are new to our brand, that are either searching for our brand or searching for terms within our brand. And so we are not spending money on targeting people like myself who have visited the Sola website 1,000 times. Which has been a really successful strategy for us in the digital space. And we've seen a lot of movement there, even though I think sometimes it's hard for the heart not to see yourself in things like search or Meta when you search for yourself, but knowing when we look at the data, it's the right approach to take. So I would say that's sort of where we go. We've also learned a lot. I think Rhandi was talking about learning what type of messaging and creative is working best. So for us, just like everyone else, I'm sure, but user-generated content. So we've really switched our strategy, not just from heavying up in the meta space where we know with the really sophisticated targeting that we're in the right place, but we've now really, I think, found a sweet spot with our creative based on insights. So the things that we are putting out there are user generated, they're based on education, they're based on this inspiration, and then we continue to tweak and adjust. So we roll out new campaigns. We were doing every quarter. We realized they were staying in our digital learning too long. So we will expand what that timeline looks like moving forward. But I would say just for us, digital, because of our community, is always probably going to be one of the most powerful tools for lead generation. And we are just really dedicated to understanding what that data looks like and continuing to tweak and evolve and adjust, and to take out the noise of targeting anybody that is already super engaged with our brand because they're not a viable lead. They're probably someone who's already part of our community.
Awesome. Thank you. I will add to focus on building your first party data list. I've found a lot of success at Massage Luxe with email recently, and the more data you own, the more data you can leverage. So think hard about contest sweepstakes, lead forms, things like that, that can help build that email list so that you can use it in a later date. At Massage Luxe, we're not in the lead collection space any longer. We used to collect leads in order to send them offers and such. Through digital advertising, but now we're doing direct online purchase, and that's really helped with our franchisees to see the immediate return that advertising can have. So if you have a business that is easy to sell online, for example, buy this $65 massage certificate, try doing that, because the franchisees really do get to see that immediate return on ad spend through the revenue generated, and then you can paint the picture for the long-term return on investment. So let's move on to what I believe to be our final question before we head into breakouts. How do you supercharge your location's foot traffic? Rachel, do you want to start with this one?
Sure. Our business is slightly different, just because we're not trying to drive necessarily walk-ins to our location, though it's sort of interesting. I think about 17% of our leads actually come by someone who's walked by and seen our sign and decide to come in and explore what it looks like. And we, interestingly enough, because we have 20,000 beauty professionals, we have obviously a huge amount of clients that come in. So we actually get quite a few beauty professionals that come in through client referrals. They're not our clients, they're their clients. But for location foot traffic, we do a few things. We've actually taken over all of our location listing management. So we make sure that when anybody is searching for any sort of location, like I said, it sort of goes back to search, but that it's super easy to find, that it is really visually appealing, you understand what you're going to get, and it's consistent across the board. So making sure that we're easily searchable I know it seems like such basic marketing, but not having control over that before and having our franchisees own all of that was causing a lot of issues for us when it came to search. And it really was impacting people just being able to find us in general. In addition, like I said, we make sure that we have strong exterior signage. It seems so basic, but it actually is so crazy. And I even saw this when I was in more of a B2C world, how many people see your exterior signage and come in because they're curious. So the idea of making sure that you have really strong, consistent, clear branding around and outside of your business, whether you're in a shopping mall, whether you have digital space nearby, whether you have, I wouldn't say plaster all your windows with signs, but be really intentional with the branding and the messaging that is around your location, because it truly is a huge driver of leads. Even though it seems so old school. So those are probably just two. I know I'm trying to be conscious of time because I know these other two women probably have really great answers too, but those are probably the two that I would say is taking back over search and location listings from our franchisees to help them really make sure that it's optimized, and making sure our location pages really, really communicate the benefits that are unique with inside each location. And then making sure that we have really, really clear intentional signage that's consistent with our brand for all of our locations.
Love it. Great. Rhandi, what about you?
Same thing as Rachel. The signs, you'd think that, it's so basic, but we have done a lot of deep dives on locations that have an opportunity for growth. And one of the first things that I look at is, their signage, and are they easily able to be found, right? And there's so many times where that's not the case. So fixing that. We even do like lawn signs and flags in a classy and branded way, right? Especially to support new clinic openings, right? And there's so many people, especially at the beginning, that say, I came in because I saw your flag or your sign, right? Or I've heard of you and I didn't realize actually you were right there, right? So just making sure that those signs are polished, and even we just replaced a sign that was looking very old, right? It was looking very old. The lighting we had to replace it. So making sure that might be a negative, if it's out there and the sign's there, but it looks old, and people might say, oh, what does the inside look like, right? So just making sure that the outside appearance is attractive and on brand, that will invite them to come inside.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. We're an appointment-based business. So most of the time, foot traffic isn't something that we're trying to drive because we have full books, but we have encouraged our franchisees, when they do have an opening, to put a sandwich board out front with an offer so that they can fill that last minute. Keri, what do you guys do?
So everything that everybody just said, the signage thing is actually something that we struggle with. And the reason being because typically when prospective franchisees come to us, they have an idea of where they want to be already, or they're converting an existing business into our business. Some landlords will not allow you to put up certain types of signage, or they want it to match the rest of you guys are all familiar with this. Anybody that's spent any kind of time in marketing understands that the landlords and the neighborhood associations and the city codes and all of that fun stuff play huge factors into signage. So we've had to make some exceptions. And every time we've had to make the exception, it has hurt. And so I can stand by, true to testament, that signage is exceptionally important. So if you have a scenario where you have two locations you're looking at and one can allow you to put the right signage up and one can't, go with the one that will, because that is huge. We have always, since I started with AlignLife, well, I shouldn't say always. When I started with AlignLife, one of the things that I said we needed to do was centralize the business listings, reputation management, all of those things. So we've been doing that. It hasn't always been super easy because clinics want to be able to do what they want to be able to do, especially when they're independently owned and operated. And so they want to go into Google and change the way something's worded or change a picture or something of that. And then our software tool turns it back to the way it was. And then they get mad and they scream. And it's like, you guys, this is what we're here for. You tell us what you want updated. We'll go update it and we'll make sure it's updated across the board. So you have that synergy and you're not losing any momentum in SEO. And once you start to explain that to them, they're like, okay, you do the work. I don't want to do the work. But we have seen with constant attention to that, it is huge. The biggest area for me that I don't think anybody has touched on is the reviews. The algorithms have changed so much in the past year. With the Meta shift, with the Google shift, everything that they've done in the past year, for those of you that don't know, review responses and reviews themselves are now indexed by the algorithms. And so if you're not taking advantage of that, you're missing a huge opportunity. I do not allow, I shouldn't say I don't allow, that's kind of a bad way. They're not like children, but we ask that the locations do not respond to any negative review ever, 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 ever. I am a reputation management expert. Let me handle them. I don't care if we're at 1,000 locations. I'll handle negative reviews, or someone that I've trained can handle those. As far as positive, I give them 72 hours. They have the most intimate relationship with these people. They know them. They can be like, Sally, it was great to see you yesterday. You know, it's so personal. They can do it without violating HIPAA very, very easily, which we do have to worry about HIPAA in reviews and in social media and everything that we do, and acknowledging people. We can't be like, hey, it was great seeing you yesterday. I hope your back feels better. We can't do that. So we have to be very careful with that. But I give them 72 hours. At that 72-hour mark, I do the keyworded responses for them. I coach them on how to respond to them. And I have had many of my locations just say, don't give me 72 hours, just handle it. And we do. And they excel. But some of them are like, those are my people. I want to talk to them. And I'm like, that's cool too, because you have that affinity with them. You have a different type of relationship, which also helps. So that's the only thing I do different is that, and they probably do the reviews as well. It's just one of the things that I didn't hear mentioned, so I wanted to bring it up.
Keri,
No,
that is
I love it.
so generous of you to respond to all their reviews.
Come do ours.
Yes.
Well, I'm still a small group. So it makes it easier. However, my scheduling team assists with that as well. They also assist with social media engagement and making sure that people are not being ignored and that everything turns into a two-way engagement so that they get those credibility points in the relevance metrics.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.